Hey everybody, it's BrickWaffle again, and we are back on the WaffleMods server, and today we've got some interesting things to do. I've actually started recording a little while ago, and had some audio issues and decided to drop that clip. It was just too poor quality. I would prefer that you guys can hear what I'm saying. But what I wanted to do is show you around a little bit of what I have done in between episodes. But I also have built one of these clipboards from Bibliocraft, and if you haven't seen these before, they're really, really nice. You can create whatever you want, so here I've got to-do list. And I did a few of these things in the previous clip. Sorry you didn't get to see that, but they're not terribly exciting. I will talk a little bit about those. And it's really nice to help me keep organized things I want to do on episodes. But what I want to do first is kind of show you around the base. So one of those items was create hanger doors. And that's these things here. I've used carpenter doors from carpenter's blocks. And they're really nice because you can make whatever shape door you want. And they kind of raise up and close. And if you forget you don't have flying mode on, you can fall right out of the base. And then when we put our blaze mode back on, you can see that it's pretty handy. So I made these, you can change the texture, you can put whatever blocks you want on them, and you can still kind of see out. I left the little holes in there, but with the carpenter's hammer, you can actually change that as well. So in our previous episode, we dug out these hallways, and I went ahead and put hanger doors at the end of each of them. And we've also added a portal here to the Aether, and that's a new mod that we've added into the mod pack since last episode. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But for now, let's go ahead and jump up here. And this is the end portal room that I just finished. So it's not terribly exciting. It is glassed in. It looks like it's just open to the sky. But we do have some glass here, and I moved the end portal frames over with matter transporters from Practicalities. So we have our portal to the end now. And then the Traveler's Glove is something else that I crafted in between. Oops, not that one. This one. And you can enchant this. It's like a Tinker's Construct tool, but that means you can put redstone on it and get haste for whatever tool you're wielding. So with Efficiency 5 and Haste, I have pretty much instant mine on most of the blocks in my base like that, which is pretty awesome. That's going to really help us with base construction. Okay, and then like I said, I put in this portal to the Aether. So we did add a few mods to the pack. We've added Ganny's Surface and Ganny's Nether. So if you haven't played with those before, it just adds more decoration blocks and things like, with Ganny's Surface, instead of just making sticks, you can make sticks in all the different wood varieties, so birch sticks or spruce sticks. Ladders, all those things can be in multiple forms as well. And then the Nether adds a few crops, so you can actually grow wither skulls and that sort of thing. Those are very rare and very hard to find. And it also adds just some other new blocks to the Nether. We added storage drawers, which I probably won't use too much since I'm a big fan of AE. But folks like Sakala, who like making sort of modern, realistic-looking houses, can use storage drawers to have kind of improved storage over chests. And then, of course, the Aether is the big one, and this adds a new dimension. So if the Nether is supposed to be hell and full of fire and closed in, the Aether is really the opposite of that. And we'll go through here, and this is going to be very important that I have flying on, because the Aether is all sky islands. So it's big, it's open, it's sky, and everything in here floats or flies. It's just a really neat and relaxing place, and you can hear some music in the background maybe. I don't know if it started yet. But yes, it's basically the opposite of the Nether. Now, mobs still do spawn in here, especially in dark areas like we just had there. Let's see if I can get to the Fallen Knight here and kill him. And there's a concussion creeper. Let's see if we can get him down. There we go. And they also drop these Aether shards, and I have no idea what these are used for. It looks like we have some new inventory slots for the Aether. We'll get into that in a later episode, but I just wanted to show you that it does look really nice, and now you can hear the music in the background, I think. There are different kinds of clouds, like these green clouds shoot you sideways when you touch them. There are blue ones that shoot you upwards. And that also works with items, so you can make some very interesting item transport systems with that. So for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to go back through. I'm going to dump some of these items back in here, and you can see that what we're going to do next is set up a quarry. So we're going to go back through to the main world. Let's go ahead and take this tree out. And do I have... Let me get this the hard way. Let's get the steel lumber axe and see if we can... Oh, there's a Zephyr trying to blow us off the edge. Let's see if we can... Man, there's a bunch of them. Let's see if we can take this thing out with a lumber axe. There we go. That's going to help a lot. And those portals are pretty loud. Let's see about turning down our sound here as well. Music and sounds. I think that might be blocks. I don't know what that counts as. Ambient environment, maybe? We'll see. But I do like the music. I think it's very relaxing. This whole area, if you have flying, is not so bad. And if you fall out of the world here, it's interesting. You don't fall to your death. you actually fall into the overworld starting at 256. So if you don't have flying, you definitely will die, but it's not like falling out of the end where you hit the void and you lose everything, all your stuff is gone and whatnot. Worst case, you die and you have to go get your body. So we are going to come back here in a later episode. In fact, let's go ahead and add this to our list of things to do. Create an Aether base. So we're going to do that in a future episode as well. Expand out this this portal, and hanging out right here on the edge is going to be pretty dangerous. We're going to want to build a big room here that maybe do a big circular platform, some kind of thing that looks like it fits here. All right, so for now we're going to go back through and we're going to go over to the mining world. And hopefully that is not so, oops. Yeah, and there's a little bit of a weirdness here. It doesn't like putting me back down where the portal is. It likes to put me above the portal, which is a little bit strange, but that's all right. We can deal with that. We've got an elevator block right here. So let's go out to the mining world. And you'll see we've been here before. If you haven't seen this, this is basically just an entire dimension that is flat and has no hostile mob spawning and is always daytime. So it's really, really handy for getting materials without digging big holes in your main world. Alright, so we have now put in some ender markers, and these are 4 chunks apart, so it's 64 by 64. That's going to be a really big quarry. And then what we want to do is we want to connect our quarry to one end of this. So we're going to do that, and then we need to put a chest on top of it. And this chest is already set up to go back to my AE network, and that's going to take any input from that. And we're also going to want a chunk loader. Now the quarry itself keeps whatever chunk it's working in loaded, so this really could just be a spot loader, but we're going to put it right here, and we're going to set it to a 1 chunk radius, and if we show lasers, that's going to cover the chunk that we're in, and that should work perfectly. Actually, let's go ahead and set it to 2. That shouldn't be a huge deal, and that'll make sure we cover at least the first ender marker as well. Now we can set this, and it will say it successfully established boundaries, but it won't do anything until it has a little bit of power. So we've got some solar generators here, and we are going to put one of those there. Actually, we're going to move that just a little bit. We're going to put them here, and where's the next one? Here? Yeah, perfect. And then we're going to connect those up with energy conduits. So here, 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 here. And that is now working. You can see it's got power, it's drawing in there, it's using that power, and then it's charging back up again from the solar. And this will work pretty well. It's not going to be super fast. You can see it's just steadily adding stuff into our network. But it's just going to keep running in the background. And it's going to skip things like dirt and whatnot. It's automatically going to ignore all those things. But this is just going to run for a long time, and you'll see it doesn't dig holes in the world. The reason this ender quarry is so nice is that it replaces whatever it mines up with dirt. So over time, this whole area will just be a one giant cube of dirt, but it will, leave the water, it'll leave any caves that are in there. It just replaces anything it finds. And these solar panels are perfect for the mining world because it's always daytime. So as long as this chunk is loaded, and you can see that these are definitely loaded, it's just going to slowly, continually work and produce resources for us. And when it's finished clearing out 16 chunks, we can come by and move the whole setup and do it again. And what we'll do is we'll just put some torches or something down here where these ender markers used to be so we can see where we've quarried out in the past. That is the one downside to not having the big hole, is it's very easy to set this up somewhere that only has dirt and waste power. But yeah, it definitely could be faster. You can see we've only done 174 blocks since I've been talking, but it is keeping up. It's not like it's sitting there at 0 power for any length of time. So with 2 of these solar generators, it's sucking up all the power it can. It's putting out like 120 RF a tick, it looks like, from these, and that's enough to keep this thing running. Okay, so that's going to be, actually, let's go ahead and check that off our list. One more thing. We want to pick some farm locations for some automated farms, and we also want to create a wither farm. And in order to do that, we're actually going to have to go to the Nether and get enough wither skulls that we can fight the wither and get a nether star. The reason for that is going to become obvious here very shortly. So let's go back to our little area where we have the network and the bed and all that stuff, and I'll show you what I'm planning on doing. Alright, so what we can do here, if we look at draconic, let's see, this thing, draconic cores. The core crafting component for draconic evolution can be used to stabilize mob spawners. So what we need to do is make one of these, and that requires just a diamond, some draconium, and some gold. I think we already have enough to make one. There we go. But what we also need to do is be able to make a spawner, and we need to add some things to it. So once we stabilize a spawner for wither skulls, we can add a nether star to it to make it work when we're not around. I think there's some other modifiers to make it go faster, that sort of thing. It's going to be pretty interesting. And what you do is you get a vanilla spawner, you put it somewhere as a mob trap, and then you need a soul that you get with the Reaper enchant. So I've got Reaper 5 on this titanium sword, and it's like a 1 in 1,000 chance to get a soul. So we're going to go to the nether. We're going to kill a bunch of wither skeletons, and I'll do the first few on camera, and then I'll edit out a bunch because you don't want to see me kill 1,000 or so wither skeletons rather, until I get a wither skeleton soul. Then we'll be able to make a wither skeleton spawner. And once we have that and some spikes, it's going to be pretty easy for us to start farming up wither skulls. Once we have those and some soul sand, we can make a wither killer from practicalities, and we can start farming nether stars. So that's the next thing we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully that makes sense. We're going to go to the nether and see if we get really lucky. Now, 1 in 1,000, of course, means we could get it on our first wither skeleton kill. It's pretty unlikely, but it could happen. And it also does not guarantee that we will get it in exactly 1,000 kills. Woo, 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 woo. What was happening there? Interesting. So we may have some farming ahead of us. Now, this base portal, obviously, let's go ahead and do the same thing here. We're going to need to create a nether base. And that's going to be something else that's a future project for us. So I like this clipboard. It's going to help us keep organized as I think of things. But if we come out of here, you can see that we are, where is that? About 600 blocks from the fortress and about 240 blocks from the town portal. And there may be other fortresses nearby, but we're going to go out this way because we know where we're going. And we do have the base portal waypoint. So Ganny's Nether, I don't know if we're going to see anything because a lot of this has already been generated. I think I've flown over here already. But if we fly by, sometimes we'll see chests called Undertakers, and they have some of the new Ganny stuff in here. Let's go ahead and kill this ghast. I'm not sure if we have returned to sender. Let's see, try one more time. Nope, missed. Oh, there's a wasp here too. Thanks, ghast. There we go. So we didn't have that achievement before, and now we do. It's not too bad. When you have flying, it's way easier than in vanilla. Although, if you guys haven't heard the news, in 1.9, vanilla Minecraft is going to get gliders, so we'll have a form of flying that's going to be really, really neat. And having used gliders in the nether before, journeys like this would be a lot easier if you could kind of glide between these nether islands. Yeah, these wasps are kind of annoying, though. That's unfortunate. There's one. Hey, guy. There he goes. I don't miss those, but they are really nice for getting flying with morph because they do have a full health bar. They have a lot of hit points. Okay, and this is something else I think vanilla Minecraft could use is some nether biomes. I think that's kind of neat. I don't know about the grass. I mean, it's a little bit strange, but I do like it. But I think some of the other biomes, like with the phantasmagoral forest and the mushrooms and the crops and the bones, I think that really does make it look a little bit more interesting. So now what we have to do is fly around here and see if we can kill some skeletons. And, you know, farming up all this sand will be great. We'll need a lot of this to obviously get wither farming down. We'll probably come back here with an excavator, or maybe we'll even just move the quarry over here at some point or make a second one, because you can quarry these out. The other thing you can do is make a digital miner from Mechanism, and you can say just pick up soul sand, and that would be something else to do. So let's go ahead and I'm going to throw that in my adjustable bag here. They're down there at the end. And I see some wither skulls on the map here. There's one, for example. And, oop, didn't look like we got a soul from that guy. Yep. So it might take a while. I did get a wither skull from that, though. That's pretty cool. That's very lucky. So we're going to have to do a lot of this. We'll do a few more of these on camera together, and then I'm going to probably pause until I get one. Okay, well, that's not the soul we were after, but it does work. Now we can make a blaze spawner pretty easily, so that's cool. We'll be good on blaze rods. And that was not 1,000 blazes for sure, so wish we can get that lucky on withers. Hey, guy. There it goes. And that was it, actually, I think. Let's retreat back up here, and there's a mob soul. Awesome. So that's all we needed. Let's go ahead and put our magnet away. And yeah, there we go. We got a blaze soul and a wither skeleton soul. So we can head back to our portal, and then we can start working on where we're going to put this farm. That was really not too bad. It was only about 15 minutes, I think, of killing wither skeletons to get that. So lucked out big time on that. All right, I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so we are back in the base, and what we want to do is create some mob farms. And I think we might want to create these outside in the valley here. So let's, let's not fall. Let's come back up here. shut the door behind us. But I think somewhere out here would be interesting. That way we can kind of see the farms from these window areas. And maybe over here would be all right. The challenge is going to be, I think we could use dark glass and kind of keep the light out, but still be able to see in there. But we do need to have an area where they can spawn and where they can be killed with conveyor belts and iron spikes and all that stuff. So I think this area right here is going to look really nice. So we're going to call that the location for our farm. And we're probably going to use all of these little areas around here. So we've got another one we could use down here. We could create a farm for maybe blazes as well. And then for automated crop farming, we've got some other options. Obviously, we could use this pit. We could kind of smooth that out and create it. So we're just going to use all the little areas around our base for different kinds of farms in the future. And that's really, I mean, I don't really need to do a checkbox for that in the clipboard, but it just helps us remember. And so this little area here, this is just a window. We can't actually go in that way. Although I guess we could make those entrances into the base as well. So that's going to be that. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of digging off camera. Really what I need to do is just flatten this area out and make it into a 9x9 area of open space on the inside with some walls. And then we're going to need probably an item collector and a chest. Do I have item? Okay, item collectors. Yeah, so we'll need to make one of these and one of the ender chests to go into our network and that sort of stuff. And we'll get that all set up. Now, the first thing we have to do with this is, I think the very first version is just like a regular vanilla spawner, so we'll have to sit there AFK and kind of near it. But once we have it set up and we get a nether star, then it'll be much easier because we can go and set it up so it works when there's not a player nearby. And that's where we're going to really get our big return on investment. So we will probably need to make some more chunk loaders or spot loaders, and that's going to help us keep everything going too. And we are going to want to make some more storage as well. And I think we even have, and actually let's go ahead and put that on the list because I don't think it is yet. Create more AE. Actually, let's just stop saying create there. More AE storage. Put that on the list. And I think I have a lot of the chips made already. So there's 64 calculation processors. And somewhere down here, yeah, 144 logic processors. So I was doing that last night. And if you come down here, you can see that we've got our little factory array down here. And this is the Steve's Factory Manager. If you haven't played with this mod, I'm going to admit it looks a little complicated. But basically, each of these blocks, you can set an inventory. So I want to pull things out of the Skystone chest. And I want to pull out all the raw materials here from Skystone chest. And then I'm going to process each of those in different machines, put them back into the chest, pull out the processed ones, put them back through. There are some great tutorials out there on how to use this. And once you do, I literally just throw raw materials in the Skystone chest and it just does its thing and puts the finished products back. So at some point we'll connect an interface to this on AE so that we can just dump materials in there from the AE network, have it go through and craft and put it back into the system. And that's going to be really, really nice because then we can just come in here and queue up, I want chips or processors or storage or anything, and it'll craft it for us. But for now, let's go ahead and throw in all of the random loot we got from our first trip to the Nether here. I'm going to put those Blaze Souls in this backpack so I don't accidentally, or Blaze Soul and Wither Skeleton Soul in my backpack so I don't accidentally lose them. And then let's look at some storage. Now we do have a little bit of 1K storage, and if we go to storage here, and how many more 1Ks can we make? That's the logic processors. I think Certus Quartz and Redstone are going to be our big limiters. But no, actually that's not too bad. So we made 79 of those, and if we look at our 4K storage, now we're going to be running really low on redstone. 2 of those, and we're out of the quartz glass, it looks like. So let's see. What do we need for quartz glass? That, which we already have some of. Excellent. There's 12 more. Let's see. I'm going to give us 12 more of these. That's not too bad. So 13 of those, and now we're out of redstone. And that's a bigger issue. We're going to have to get some from the quarry. We'll get that over time. That'll be fine. But what we can do is we can make 13 4K storage, or we can probably go up to 64K storage. Oh no, 16K storage. We need more of that quartz glass and glowstone and some of those chips. So we can do that. You know, we're going to keep going up. I don't know why 16 is, there it is. Oh, because it's 1.6, I got it. We need some engineering processors, and that is diamond. So let's see how much diamond we have. I know it's not much. Diamond, oh, 24, not bad. Okay, let's go ahead and take, let's save 4. Oops, that's the wrong way to do it. Let's save 4 of those, and I'll show you what I'm doing with this processor. Oh, except we need redstone to make those chips too, don't we? Yep, we do have some redstone ore. That's cool. So I'll process that up, and let me real quick show you how this is going to work. So I come down here and I throw diamonds in, and you'll see immediately they're going to go away. And you can see that this one down at the end is working, and it's cranking out diamond circuits pretty quickly. Now those would go back here, except that they're automatically being processed as the second stage of crafting, and they're getting loaded into this one. So once we have silicon and redstone, we'll be able to finish up those processors, and they'll automatically come back into this chest when they're done. So I know that's a quick explanation. Hopefully that makes sense. But the idea is that we can just commit some raw materials and get some output. So if we look at redstone, there's a bunch of different ways you can process this. Obviously smelting it would be terrible. Enrichment chamber, you can get 12 redstone for every redstone ore. So I'll probably take this back to town and get 12 times that, which is going to be like, what, 10 stacks or so of redstone dust? That's going to be fantastic. And then we need to get some silicon as well, and we only have 3. So how much sand do we have? 292 sand. Let's go ahead and throw some of that into our sag mill, and that's going to get us some silicon as well. And if we have some flint, we can get even more out of that. Let's go ahead and get a stack of flint and put that into the sag mill. That's going to help us get even more out of each one of these. All right, so I'm going to do that, and I will grind this or enrich that back at the base at the spawn town, but that's a bit of a hike there and back. We don't have a good teleportation system yet, and that's something else we want to do is we need nether stars to make the enhanced charm of dislocation. I think that's right. So let's look at charm. Oop, come on. NEI is being really slow right now. Oh, okay. Thought I was going to crash there for a second. Enhanced charm of dislocation, yeah. So this is all pretty straightforward. The only hard part is the wyvern core, which is 4 of those diamond-centered things, and a nether star. Once we have this, though, we can fill it with ender pearls, and it can set up to, I don't know, 20 different locations you can teleport to for the cost of 1 ender pearl. So imagine using 1 ender pearl and going 2,000 blocks away instantly, and it works between dimensions. It's really, really good. So once we get a few more wither skulls, that's probably where our first nether star is going to go. All right, so I'll be back with you guys in a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and put in the redstone and the silicon, and you'll see that that goes away. The redstone should automatically end up over here, which it is, and it's now producing these processors. And you'll see the silicon starting to end up here as well, and that's starting to make engineering processors. So as we get those things processed, they're coming right back through here, and that should be done here when we get to 20. You can see this is really, really fast for us, and there we go. Now what it's going to do is it's going to take all the extra silicone and start stacking it up in here for the next set of things we want to make. So that way, the next time we do this, we won't have to do the redstone and silicon for the next 44 processors. Okay, so where do we have this? Let's throw that in here, and we were doing 16K storage, I believe, so let's go back to 16K. And we can get 3 of those, not too bad, and we need some more quartz glass. And I think for that, we need to actually grind up some more quartz. So let's do that as well. Let's grind that up in the sag mill, and we should get plenty of quartz dust here. And like I said, I'll keep doing that. I'll do that off camera, and the next time we come back, we'll have some more storage in our ME drive up there. All right, so what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to go back to the outside area. I'm going to clear out some space and start on our farm for the wither skeletons, and I'll resume again with you shortly. All right, so we have a basic room here, and it's going to be dark. This is dark glass, so it won't let any light in, but we'll be able to see in there. We've got some conveyor belts. We've got our chest that's going to go into our AE network with our item collector on it, some spikes, and now what we want to do is drop down here, and we want to put our skeleton spawner on there for now. We're going to break that. Come on, break that. And then what we need to do, not put a torch on it, is we need to put a draconic core on here, and we'll stabilize this. Boom, now we have a stabilized mob spawner. And if you look on the left-hand side, you can see mob type blank requires player true, ignore spawn requirements false, spawner tier 1, and if we hold shift, you can see that to require a player, we need nether stars. We need that to say we don't have to be online. But a notch apple will ignore spawn requirements, meaning it'll spawn here in the overworld. We can use these mob souls to set the type. So now you can see that the mob type is skeleton. It says skeleton, but you can see it spinning around in there. That's wither skeletons. So we need to go make a notch apple, and that will let us set it so that it doesn't have to be in the nether to spawn wither skeletons. So this is going to be pretty cool, and we can keep upgrading it. You'll see that we can do like more wither cores wyvern cores, not wither cores, and continue to make this do more and more as we go on. See, so notch apple. Let's look at apple, and you can see that there's a golden apple, and this is what they mean by notch apple. It's one surrounded by blocks of gold, which you see we don't have any. So let's look at our gold ingot supply, and I think we're going to have enough to make 8 blocks of gold. So do that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So we'll do that, and we're going to need to make the apple again. That one, and there we go. So now if we go back, that means we can ignore spawn requirements. It'll be tier 1, but let's see. But it'll start spawning wither skeletons when we're nearby. So we'll do this. Boop, boo. And can we reach it from here? There we go, perfect. And you can see it's already spawning wither skeletons and putting items into our inventory. Now what that means is technically it ignores all the requirements, including light level, as long as we're within range. So we can hang out right over here. You can see it's still spinning. And if we wait a few seconds, it can take, 10 or 20 seconds to spawn some. It's not great. It's like a vanilla spawner. You kind of have to wait for a few minutes. Although it should be going now. There it goes. And it can spawn a bunch at one time. And it'll collect all those items. So we can actually go into our wireless terminal now and see about wither. We have 4 wither skeleton souls. And we need some, soul sand. So we have enough to spawn a wither and kill it. We might do that. But what I'm going to do in between episodes is kind of spend some time AFK over here and collecting some wither souls. And you can see that sometimes they will spawn on top of this thing. So what we're going to need to do is also put like a stone slab on top of that so they can't spawn there either. Let's get our slabs. And we're going to break this one right where he is. Oop. And we're going to knock him down. Come on, guy. Okay, let's get that one too. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to do, but that's all right. That'll work. So we're withered. Let's put a slab on top of that. And that should solve our problem. So nothing should be able to spawn on top of that anymore. The nice thing is that this will keep track of how many mobs it spawns. So if for some reason they get glitched out and stuck, it won't keep spawning them and grind the server to a halt. It will eventually just stop spawning mobs if there's no room for them. So that's doing pretty well for us. And if we look again, let's see our wither skulls. We've gotten one more already. So this is definitely going to be really useful for us to get the wither killer. So that's the next goal. Wither, let's see, we've got the wither block and wither killer. The wither killer is imbued nether star, logic matrix. This is going to be a bunch of regular nether stars and a machine core and all sorts of stuff. That's going to be a little while. And wither blocks require diamond infused obsidian and iron bars. Those are not too bad. But we're going to have to kill at least 8 withers the regular way in order to get this imbued nether star to start farming withers. So the first few of these we're going to do just regular wither killing, and we'll probably come up with one of the mechanisms in the nether where you push it into the ceiling and all that good stuff to make getting the nether stars easy. But we're going to do that, some of that in between episodes until we get the wither killer set up. So that's really it. Let's see about this one. We've got create a wither farm. That's checked off. And I think we're going to go back and look at our AE storage now. It should be done crafting up the quartz, or grinding up the quartz we needed to finish that up. So let's come in here, and there we go. There's our nether quartz dust. And let's throw that in there. And we'll go back to storage. And for our 16Ks, we needed this quartz glass. So there's 52 more of it. Awesome. So 4Ks, can we do any of those? We can. Excellent. That's all of our 1Ks into 4Ks. And let's get those into 16Ks. There's 6 of those, and now we're basically out of that. And we've got 9, and I believe this thing holds 10, so we can do a 1K and 9 16Ks, or we can do a 4K and 9 16Ks. And then all we need to do is make some storage housings. And let's see how many of those we can make. 15, perfect. So let's throw those in here with that. 16K storage. One more of those, and this guy, 4K storage. And now we come up here and we're going to throw our 4K in the top and then all these things like that. Now we have way more storage. So that's really, really easy. Once we get the quartz and everything else, that logic processor printer machine downstairs makes this really, really handy. Okay, so we've added more AE storage as well. I think this is probably going to be a bit of a short episode. I don't want to do the digging out on camera, and I still have to decide what I want to do for the basement. So if you have some feedback, any kind of other things you'd like me to use, this theme is looking pretty good up here, but I wanted the basement, if we go back down, to look a little bit more rough and factory. I don't really like where the lights are, but I just wanted to make sure nothing spawned down here. At some point we'll get a QED. Oh no, we've got a QED. Well, at some point we'll make a magnum torch and put that down in some of these areas so we can make them look a little gloomier and dungier. Dungeon? Yeah, whatever. Obviously we can harvest out some of these materials, and then I'm going to put in some walls. But I'll probably stick with this kind of factory block pattern so that it looks kind of grimy. That's really what I want down there. And I'll do a lot of that digging off camera in between episodes. And like I said, maybe I'll try to do a live stream as well. So I think we're going to call it there today. We're going to plan out some of the other builds, and hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button. If you really enjoyed it, then please subscribe. And as always, I've been Brick Waffle. Thank you for watching.